Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. We have hit 500 subscribers and I'm so thankful for this milestone. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but considering that I started YouTube 11 months ago, I'm hitting my 1-year anniversary next month, I would have never thought I would have this much traction on this channel. For the longest time, I didn't have a platform to express my ideas and I felt like I was going crazy. And I feel like me speaking about Asian men's experiences in America in 2022 is really cool. I don't think there's a lot of channels that do it. And I really am thankful to my subscribers, you guys. You guys have made me want to make videos. And some days I feel like giving up and some days I feel like no one finds value in my content. But surprisingly, you guys do. And thank you so much for all the love. I do get a good amount of hate on this channel. I don't know fucking why, honestly. But you know, subscribers, all the love means a lot. But eventually it's kind of like, fuck it, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm super happy. Today, we're in for a treat. Finally, yes, it's here. Today, we'll be talking about how I met my white girlfriend as an Asian man. A little disclaimer, I'm not saying I'm dating her because she's specifically white. She happens to be white, and I love her. Simple things like that. I know in the Asian culture, interracial dating and marriage is kind of a taboo, and it's not as common, but I just want to give you my 2 cents and story on it. A little bit of background. I honestly didn't want a girlfriend at the time. I was really content being a bachelor and I was going on a ton of dates and stuff like that, but nothing too serious. I just moved to the city and I was really now just starting to find my East Coast strides. I pretty much moved here a year and a half ago to Chevy Chase, Maryland, to the DMV, right? Like 5 minutes from DC for work. And I really didn't have an established friend group. Like I moved here during the peak of COVID. Everything was shut down. No one could really go out. So it's really hard to socialize. So pretty much I hit my 1-year mark and I was like, hey, I fucking hate it here. I don't have any friends. But I was like, hey, let's stick it out. Let's stick it out. So I pretty much stuck it out and I started just cold approaching everyone, right? I moved to my building and I want to get more involved in the community here because I realized there's a lot of younger people in my building. And, you know, I was like, fuck it, I got nothing to lose. So I just started interacting and saying hi. Eventually I befriended the front desk staff. He's actually the manager of the building I live in. And he's my friend Connor. So it was super nice to just hang out with Connor and just shoot the shit when I see him. And then eventually I remember he was talking to a girl named, let's say Jenna for privacy reasons. And she was around my age and he's like talking. He's like, oh, hey man, by the way, this is Jenna. You guys should meet, blah, blah, blah. He just introduced us, blah, blah, blah. It was great. So then nothing crazy happened. And then I think a couple days later, I see Jenna actually studying. She's in med school and she's in the military studying at this table. And I was like walking by, I was like, hey, honestly, I'm trying to make new friends and I have this urge to socialize. So I walked over and I was like, hey, what's up, Jenna? It's Min. I met you a couple days ago. She's like, she was super friendly. Like, oh yeah, I totally remember you. You're friends with Connor. And we started just hanging out and just talking some more. And eventually we got each other's contact information. It's like, hey, like if you ever time outside of school, let's get a beer or something. It was super cool. So then I think a couple days go by, I go out downtown to DC and I was like, hey, you want to come with me? She was like, no, I'm studying. But hey, just come on back on your way when you're done going out. So here I am, I show up obliterated drunk to her place and you know, she was just super nice. She's out here studying. Nothing weird happened. I was being very professional. We had to sit down and talk about my night and it was just super nice. So eventually Jenna and I just started vibing, started hanging out. She would go shopping and I was like, fuck it, I'm bored. I'll just go along. You know, we got like Whole Foods, we see like cherry blossoms. It was a super cool time of my life. And eventually we started just hanging out more and it was just like having a friend in the building. I was like, hey, this is everything I wanted. So then, you know, one day my apartment had a rooftop mimosas event. Pretty cool, yeah. Sit on the rooftop, drink mimosas, super cool. Jenna was actually there and we just started getting like fucked up. We had a good time. So eventually we start drinking and then like, you know, around dinner time shows up. I was like, hey, what do you need for dinner? And she's like, hey, I'm getting dinner with my friend Hadley. Do you want to join? And I was like, fuck yeah, I do. So I kind of invited myself on this date because Jenna was trying to set us up for a very long time. And I was not really sure if I was about it, but she kind of like foreshadowed that. So I was like, okay, cool. So pretty much I go to this dinner after drinking all day on this mimosas with Jenna. And I see Hadley, who's my girlfriend now. And I saw her and I was like, whoa. First of all, super attractive, very, very beautiful. So, you know, I'm telling myself, like, hey, play it cool. Like, you're kind of buzzed. She's sober. Like, chill the fuck out. I was super nervous. It was weird because I usually don't get nervous when I approach people like that. But I don't know. I was like, something clicked, right? I was like, someone clicked. Hadley's the one. So pretty much we started talking and, you know, she was kind of nervous, shifting her eyes and stuff like that. Cause, you know, she thought Jenna and I we were close, right? We were friends. So eventually we started chatting and all, you know, it was like some simple movie. It was just simple topics, right? She was like, hey, like, what's your favorite movie? Like, actually. And we both said Good Will Hunting, which is like a fucking phenomenal movie. But my dumbass was going to say Wolf of Wall Street just to try to act macho and cool. So glad I didn't say that. And then eventually, once you said Good Will Hunting, like no one says that. Everything just clicked, like sparks were flying, like we started chatting. And then Jenna's actually sitting across the table and Hadley and I are next to each other. Eventually, you know, Jenna like pulls back, gives us our space. And and she was like hyping us up. So, you know, we're like talking, drinking, like laughing, having a great time. So eventually dinner closes and I was like, oh fuck, I really don't want this night to end. So then Jenna was like, hey, why don't we all go back to my place? So Jenna literally wingmaned me the entire time. And I was like, wait, that's fucking phenomenal. You know, like Jenna knew who I was, where my heart was. And I was a great guy with, you know, great morals, and, you know, really helped. She kind of did the vetting and really trusted me. So super thankful for her for that. So we go back to her place and, you know, we started drinking, playing some games, started listening to some music. Then Hadley shows me her music playlist. We have like a ton of like a couple artists that like are my favorites. I was like, wait, no one listens to this music. Super cool. So eventually, you know, we started drinking. It's like 2 a.m., blah, blah, blah. I was like, hey, you should probably go home. So, you know, like Hadley goes to the bathroom, and then Jenna looks at me and she's like, hey, she really likes you. I was like, fuck yeah, really? I was like, really? That's awesome. And it was funny because when I went to the restroom after, she said the exact same thing. Jenna said the same thing to Hadley. So this cool little story. So eventually, like, you know, we just go to coffee the next couple of days, and the rest is history. Started hanging out, and then I think we went like 8 or 9 dates, and then eventually I was like, hey, let's just date. Honestly, like, she was like waiting for me to ask. Like, she literally told me if I didn't ask her to be my girlfriend, she was gonna ask me. Because at this time I wasn't sure if I wanted to date, guys. Like, that's the craziest thing. Like, I know I moved out here and it's like everyone's dream to have this girlfriend, but I truly developed like independence and self-abundance. I literally thought a relationship would take away from my life because I was going on like a lot of dates before. I was being very happy and content being a bachelor. And I just like, I don't know if that's correct, but I was just having fun, right? I was having fun, nothing new. I was young to a new city. And I love the freedom. I love the freedom to maneuver, and the idea of commitment for the longest time kind of scared me because I got out of a breakup pretty much 1.5 years ago, and that kind of like destroyed me. So I was like, hey, I'm not sure if I want to go back into this. Yeah, I like this. I like this low commitment. I like the independence. I don't want to be trapped. But then when I met Hadley, I was like, holy shit. Okay, we both vibe. And she was just trying to lock me down. It was super funny. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do it, this is her. Because if I don't do it, fucking hell, like someone else will, or I don't want to regret this decision. So I made it out of abundance versus scarcity. But in order to get here, it took me a long time. And the whole messed up thing, here's a caveat, is Jenna actually ended up being super fucking racist towards Asians. I remember when I didn't realize this until Hadley told me something, was like, hey, look, Jenna was like, hey, there's someone you really need to meet. He's your type. He's ethnic. I was described as like the ethnic guy. The whole thing was based off of my race, and I was kind of felt backstabbed by Jenna because like, really, like we go on all these like adventures and we're just hanging out all the time, and the first thing you admit is like I'm the ethnic guy with nothing to offer. So I talked more to Hadley about it, and what we end up finding out is like, I mean, like Jenna is straight up racist towards Asian people. She wasn't the best of friends with Hadley at the time. And, she was like, this is the shit you gotta deal with as an Asian guy. It's just realizing like, hey, like you aren't defined by your race, but you'll be judged by it. And it just really sucks because you can be the greatest guy ever, but if someone has like a racial bias towards you or straight discrimination, it's gonna show, right? It's like no matter how great you are, they'll never accept you as a human being. They always think of you less. And that's the issue we have as an Asian guy. Like everyone kind of shits on you and no one really believes in you. So it's like racism is still super, very, very, very prevalent. I'm in the DMV, which is like a very diverse area. And shit, like I've been to Denver, more white people. I've been to California, dealt with racism, a ton of racism in Colorado. I've dealt with racism out here. It's still here and no one really wants to admit it. So if you're an Asian guy trying to find a girlfriend, it's not fucking easy. Fuck, if you date within the same race, I think it'll be easier. If you try to date outside of your race, you can deal with so much bullshit. Like, holy crap. If you are as an Asian guy trying to go and date a white girl, you're going to deal with a ton of shit that you don't have to. Or you go date like a black girl, like you will just be judged by like other people by your race. You're just always seen as that Asian guy versus being seen as the guy. Like, when we walk around, Hadley and I, we are seen as the interracial couple versus just being seen as a couple, right? Or when people describe me, they're like, oh, do you see Hadley's Asian boyfriend versus being like, Hadley's boyfriend. Like, why do I have to have this Asian thing attached to it? That's like me describing someone like, oh yeah, like John, the white guy, or being like, yeah, Jenna's boyfriend who's white. And it's like, this is so unnecessary. And it's like the strangest thing is like, yeah, my name is Min. I grew up in Vietnam. I came here when I was 9 months old. I don't have an accent. I look Asian, but the culture that I live in is it's American. It's very like whitewashed, if I'm being genuinely honest. I do have some Asian cultural roots that are a part of me, right? But I would say I'm more American than like Asian sometimes. It's just due to the way I was raised. I grew up in Denver, Colorado. I mean, there's just not that many Asians or Asian influences in there. There's just not that many Asian influences there. And like, it's like when you go out to places and you start dating and just like dating people of like all different races, things kind of get iffy. And it's just some really shitty people. So like, honestly, my advice is, hey, I don't want to say I necessarily got lucky, but I'm very blessed to have met Hadley because she is very open-minded and I'm so thankful. And trust me, we deal with so much bullshit from her family too, right? Her family's from the South. I mean, I got like lunch with her grandmother and they asked me if I like hugged because they thought I fucking bowed, like because I'm Asian. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Do you hear my voice? Like, do you hear me? Do I look like I bow to people? And I'm just like, okay, this is just like so weird. Like when you grow up as an Asian, you have this worldview that you think everyone's going to be accepting of you. As you go on in this life, you realize like, no, most people don't even have a concept of you. That's what I'm trying to say. They don't have a cognitive concept of who you are. So people get really surprised and weirded out when you're an outspoken, confident Asian that doesn't have an Asian accent. Some people are like, whoa, what the fuck? I've never seen this. And if you don't see it, you get weirded out by it. So that's my personal experience. I do want to say this. Thank you, BTS. So I don't listen to the music. I know it's like this Korean band, I think. But BTS is going to change things for Asian guys. This is actually kind of hilarious. Yes, they portray Asian guys in a more feminine way, but they're being portrayed in a more idealized way now. The amount of attention I've gotten because of BTS recently in a couple of years has been very different. Like, I'm Cantonese, I'm Chinese, I was born in Vietnam, but I'm not Korean. The amount of like older white women, like in their 40s, all thinking I'm Korean and trying to like hit on me is like, it's fucking hilarious. Or just like white girls who specifically go chase Asian guys now due to their race. Like that's a thing that I was not aware of. That's fucking weird, okay? I've had girls being like, want to date me purely because I'm Asian. They'd be like, oh, I love boba. You're Asian. Let's make this work. And I'm like, yo, I don't even fucking drink boba, okay? Like, I just happen to be Asian. It's like, it's this weird fucking idea, but I think it's better than that than nothing. And I'll be honest, I did not meet my girlfriend through online dating. I'm a huge advocate against online dating. If you're doing online dating, you're shooting yourself in the foot as an Asian guy. It's discriminatory and it's racist towards us, and you will not have luck. If you do, fuck yeah, you're probably in the top 1% of Asian guys. You're like a 6 foot, 6-figure, just jacked Asian guy. Fuck yeah. But if you're just like not that, you're probably gonna have a really shit time. Honestly, never want to participate in it. I personally hate texting. I'd rather just go up and talk to someone. I love the human interaction. I get a high from it. I love meeting new people, but just texting is so boring to me. I'm just like, fuck it. Like, I'm such a terrible texter. I remember when Hadley and I started dating, she would text me. I would respond like 6 hours later because I was like, this is stupid. Why can't we just talk in person or at least a phone call or FaceTime? Stuff like that. So if you're an Asian guy, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like, you can get a girlfriend. It's super fucking real. Like, I did it, but it took a ton of work. Go work out, work on your hygiene, increase your income, work on the way you portray yourself. There's a lot of work you need to do to become this better version of yourself. And I'm not saying do this for the girl. I did not do any of this to go get a girlfriend. I did it because I genuinely wanted to get better as a person, as an individual. I developed more hobbies. I love public speaking. I love wine. I love learning and I love working out. And I wanted to get better. When you naturally get better and you don't want it, things naturally come for you, right? When you don't want it, you get it. I truly believe in that. Because it's the abundance mindset. If you're so obsessed with getting a girlfriend, you exude neediness and like scarcity and honestly beta behavior, versus if you're just kind of doing your own thing, you exude abundance, confidence. And I think that's the difference, is realizing, hey, you don't need anyone. You're happy alone. I think that's the number one thing that really helped set me apart, was like, yo, I'm comfortable with being alone. I love life. I didn't need anyone to complete me. So that's my 2 cents. If you guys found value from this, thank you so much. If you have any questions, please comment or email me at bedroomtalksconsult@gmail.com. We can set a one-on-one consultation and dive in. It's quite affordable. I really highly promote it. A lot of people have done it and they love it. So thank you so much. Or if you want to follow me on social media at m.deep20. As always, wish you the best. Namaste.